It's the Brown here with another Blu-ray update, and this time I picked up a copy of Baz Luhrmann's Australia, starring Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman. There's the back of it there. The actual Blu-ray disc. And I actually didn't get this for the $8.99. No, they're used from that same company. They're always cheaper online. I guess that's the store price. But it runs like 2 hours and 45 minutes. Really, I mean, just amazing film. Really well done. Let's see what year this was made. 2008. And I guess this film did really badly. Like when it came out, a lot of bad reviews on this film. I guess a lot of people just really didn't like it. Baz, as you know, the director of The Great Gatsby, Romeo and Juliet, Moulin Rouge, he really has a very distinct visual style. And, I think the cinematography in this is just gorgeous, and the way he captures like the outback of Australia, which he's from Australia, so this is like, you know, a tribute to his own country. And it homages a lot of the older cinema. It kind of has a feel of like the old like an old westerns, kind of like a Howard Hawks' Red River. There's kind of a small tribute to like Once Upon a Time in the West in there, kind of like a Sergio Leone, like Duster villain tribute. Like the cattle herding and the way like the cattle, what do you call them? Trying to think. I forget the name to them now. The cattle thieves, but kind of like that. Like I was saying, like Red River. A lot of the older, you know, like kind of like John Ford, Howard Hawks westerns. You kind of see that in there. And like the boy there, he's in the movie. He goes on a walkabout. In the end, he ends up actually getting to go on his walkabout with his grandfather. What's his name? King George, they call him. But that's kind of like, you know, like Nicholas Roeg's walkabout. His name is Drover. Hugh Jackman and Nicole Kidman. What's her name? Sarah Ashley. But they all do an amazing performance. There's even Yuen Wah in here, who, if anybody y'all are martial arts fans, know he's like one of the greatest martial artists of all time. He did a stunt doubling for Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon. He was part of the Sammo Hung stunt team. Always worked with Jackie and like Sammo and Yuen Biao. When I seen him, it just, you know, blew me away. I was like, oh my gosh, thumbs up to Yuen Wah for being in such a movie as this. And no martial art. He doesn't do any martial arts. It's just all based off acting. But there's big tributes to Wizard of Oz in here, because like she tells him, she sees in the newspaper the Wizard of Oz is playing through theaters, and she's seen it, so she starts singing the Judy Garland song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Or I think that's how it goes, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Or Under the Rainbow, I think, yeah. Either way, but that becomes like a big part of the film, because he sings that song at different times throughout the film. Then he actually finally gets to see the Wizard of Oz at a point in the film. He actually has to wear the black makeup and go invisible, because they call him McCreamy, because he's like a half and half, or like he's half white and I'm half, I guess, Native African American, you'd say. But I also noticed a kind of like a Ridley Scott like Legends kind of coloration tribute from the scene where, and early on in the film where the black horse comes up out of the water with all like the toadstools, I guess you'd say, or the leaves, like the cattails. It's kind of just the visual and the coloration of it made me think of that, of Legend. Like there's a boat, 237. This is just going off of blind. They're saying this, but it just made me think of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, room 237. I don't know if it really goes, like I said, that's just winging it. But it almost kind of feels like a combination of those old 50s, 60s westerns combined with like, what's his name, John Huston's The African Queen, with like, you know, Katharine Hepburn, Humphrey Bogart, the way the two are very distant from each other, and yet they become close, become lovers, and they make that voyage, you know, down through the river. It kind of has that feel to it. Kind of has like a classic ending, and like towards like the 2-hour point, you think it's going to end. The ending plays out like so well, like the music and just the feel and everything, and then it runs along into the. It goes really into the story with the kid. Nala is his name in the film, and then they end up, you know, taking him off to the island for the mission, or the missionary, this one little island. Then it goes into the. This is like 1939, and then it goes into the Japanese, the Pearl Harbor War with the Japanese. They end up like bombing the place where he's at, and the drover. He goes his own way, cause he's kind of like running away from their relationship and not wanting to be kind of really closely attached to her and to the boy because of what happened earlier on, which I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but and then he comes back, and he finally, you know, comes back after the bombing to find them, and he rescues the boy, and then she survives in the town where she's at. Before that, they end up, you know, getting their herd, and they get him there just in the nick of time, and they sell him. It's called like Waterway Downs, something. The house that her husband dies in the beginning, and she goes out there to see what all is going on, and it's kind of like they don't want her to stay there. They want that land this whole time. You know, it was like for many years, this one Australian family, it was like it's on their land and they want it, so they do like all they can to keep her off the land and try to sway her away into, you know, just selling it and just going back to England where she's from. And she just sticks to her guns, and she hangs on to the kids, and she becomes attached to him after her husband's death. But just really overall, just an amazing film. Like I said, a lot of people didn't really like this for some reason. This was the first Baz film I've seen, because I didn't get to go watch The Great Gatsby in theaters. I should have, but I didn't. I just didn't really want to, I guess, spend the money on us being a cheap bastard. But I'm definitely into Baz's films now, especially after this. Can't wait to get Great Gatsby. I want to go back, and I haven't got to see Moulin Rouge yet either, so I'm going to try to get that watched, which also Nicole Kidman. And I think he's really a director to look out for. And just like I said, Nicole Kidman is just an amazing actress overall. Her performance in this is really, really different from a lot of her other films. Just the way she uses like her eyes and face kind of brings out the emotions. Her character is very different. She plays it. There's a lot of comedic in this. It's really like an action adventure, romance. It has everything. Oh, and it's just a great film. And Hugh Jackman, I wasn't really a big like fan of his films at first. Then after watching like Les Mis and like Aronofsky's The Fountain, seeing like the trailer for like Prisoners coming out, he's really becoming a great actor, I think, to look out for as well. And I'm sure there's other things I could say about this. And almost kind of like a David Leanian look to it as well, like the way their house is out in the middle, like the outback, and just like a lot of the cinematography, kind of in the epic grand scale of it, and just filming over there in Australia kind of brings that back. That's like the way they used to film those the films over in foreign lands from the States back in like the 50s and 60s. Like I was saying, this is just a great nod to the older cinema. And they even in the film, like I said, they go to an older cinema, and the boy gets to watch the Wizard of Oz. And they even use that line in the end where he says, "There's no place like home." He says there's no place like it, but it's a direct reference to "There's no place like home." But I'm gonna stop talking about it now, I guess. Like there's the back once again, so you can really see that. But Australia by Baz Luhrmann. Definitely a great film, and check this one out, and thank you for watching.